My name is Birgin. I am one of the founders of DestiNATION Transport, and I am co-owner of the business. DestiNATION Transport is a third-party logistics brokerage. We work with companies all across the United States and most of Canada, arranging transport for them, working with carriers, working with their business operations and setting up transportation for their products. And then we link our customers, which would be the shippers and or sellers, with trucking companies to get their goods transported across the US and Canada.
What makes DestiNATION Transport stand out from competitors in your industry? Is there a particular niche or the market or typical customer?
There is no one particular niche that DestiNATION Transport specializes in. How we look at it is freight is freight. It doesn't matter if we are shipping lumber, shingles, or food product. It's all cargo. So as far as a niche, there is no one specific industry that we work in. We're heavily involved in building materials and food products. Anything that might be shipped on a truck, we are more than likely involved in. Typical customer for us is someone that's shipping anywhere from one pallet to, a full truckload over-dimensional size shipment, from, one shipment a day up to, hundreds of shipments a day. So yeah, no, there isn't really a typical niche that we target. Basically, if you ship, we are a go-to option for you. What stands out that makes DestiNATION different, and I think stands out and makes us a little better than the competition, is the fact that we are a cradle to grave operation, meaning that there's one point of contact. Our brokers, essentially, they are their own salesmen. They are their own brokerage team. So they're actually talking to the customers, talking to the drivers, talking to the dispatchers. They're doing their own tracking. They do it all from start to finish. Other brokerages, they're departmentalized, where there's a sales team, and then they hand it off to, any business they get to an operations team, who will enter information into a system for the brokerage team to send off to the tracking team. And there are different levels of departments, and it gets a little confusing for customers as to who they should be reaching out to. Where at DestiNATION Transport, you have one point of contact, and they'll be able to answer anything you need at pretty much any time of the day. We make ourselves available.
What was your purpose for purchasing a platform like Speed to Quote? Why did you choose to work with S2Q Systems?
It's a great tool for gauging and tracking a salesman's ability to get quotes and then track the quotes that they've gotten, to see, how often they're getting quotes, from whom they're getting their quotes, if those quotes are translating into shipments, and if we're not executing on that business, what we can do to pivot and react and change to attain that business. So what we purchased S2Q for was more of an evaluation tool for our new brokers, because S2Q promotes a tremendous platform that gives great visibility over how many quotes a broker is getting, for who they are quoting for, which customers, what parts of the country, what rates they're quoting at, and then at what conversion rate are they turning quotes into actual shipments. So that was our main goal, was to use it as a training evaluation metric, just to make sure that our brokers are getting quotes and being effective salesmen.
At a high level, how is your team using Speed to Quote? What does that look like from day to day?
Right now at DestiNATION, anyone who is in what we call our NEST program, which is our new hires and team members who have not graduated out of training yet, they would be in what's called our NEST. Anyone who is in our NEST is using S2Q to track all quotes that they're getting from potential clients or current clients, and then their respective pod leaders, which would be their direct managers, looking at that information on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, gauging their effectiveness to communicate with customers, their ability to turn these conversations into potential business opportunities. And we use the S2Q online web environment to drill down deeper, to check out what rates they're going in at and quoting their customers at, what their win-loss percentage is, what customers they're getting more quotes from than others, and what percentage they're seeing success versus they're not. We use all that information in our day-to-day evaluation of new brokers. And then on a monthly basis, we're using it in monthly sales reviews to see how their sales effectiveness was over the course of the last month. So S2Q is a tool that we're using at any given time throughout the day. You know, there are salespeople logging quotes at 7 a.m. There are brokers who are getting awarded loads at all times of the day, even after hours, where they're able to go in and then check a shipment that or a quote as an awarded shipment, and S2Q tracks that for us.
Derek, real quick, appreciate your deep insight there. We have other customers that I think have echoed what you've articulated, especially in one area where, when a pod leader was managing a new person, when they didn't have S2Q, they really had no way to really gauge or help activity of a new employee, or were they even quoting properly? And the moment they started actually looking at the data that S2Q provides, it's almost like walking into a dark room and turning the light on for the first time.
Yeah. Before S2Q, before we were able to gauge, how many quotes a new salesman was getting, their effectiveness in quoting, how often they were able to take a quote and actually translate that into a shipment, really one of the only metrics we had was how many calls they're making. We have a very sophisticated VoIP voice calling system, but broker success, it's not directly correlated simply to just calls, right? So we needed something else. We needed an additional tool to check and keep an eye on, especially our newer hires, to see if the phone calls that they are making are translating into opportunities. And S2Q was really the first good option that I've ever been presented that did that, and that's why we chose to go to S2Q and why we continue to use them today.
Appreciate that. I think, and also one other thing, that we hear is, when new hires come in, a lot of times it's sink or swim, right? For new folks, they might not get it, and I've heard from other leaders where by being able to really dive deeper into what the team is doing and able to show, hey, when you do these steps, you have success, it probably makes employee retention and maybe employee acceleration to get them faster through the new hire stage and into an active broker.
Yeah, what you said is right on point. This industry, sink or swim may be a little extreme. People develop at different rates of time. There are people that jump out from the very beginning and find success very quickly, and then they struggle later. There are also people who start very slow, but then they ramp up quickly after things kind of click, right? Using S2Q, it's allowed us to really gain more insight as to how quick they're developing, what they're struggling on, what customers they may have better opportunities with versus others. Another super useful tool or aspect of S2Q is it keeps everything, and when I mean everything related to sales and quoting, it keeps everything extremely organized. I've mentioned the online platform a few times. All the criteria, all the information that we import into our quotes, it stores that. And when all of our quotes are for our newer or existing brokers, our salesmen, is stored in a central place, they then have the ability to recall that. And the number one thing that most brokers struggle with is follow-up. Following up is the most pivotal and important part of the sales process, because if you provide a quote to someone and you never follow up, well, you don't know. Well, if you were awarded the load, great, that's awesome. But more often than not, when you're trying to develop a new sales pipeline, you're not going to be awarded the first opportunity that you're presented, right? So having the ability to have all your quotes organized, and S2Q reminds you to follow up and ask for that feedback and potentially pivot to where, if you did not attain that opportunity, what you can change to then get the next opportunity. So S2Q, keeping everything organized in their online platform, their web environment, is critical in the sales process as far as logging the initial quote, reminding brokers to follow up, and then checking the conversion rate as to how many quotes they're providing versus what amount of business they're actually attaining.
So who is using speed to quote within the company, and what percent of your sales force does this represent?
What we have chosen to use S2Q for is, as I mentioned earlier, we have a program called the Nest at Destination Transport, which is all of our new hires and our newer brokers in their tenure at Destination Transport, where they have not yet graduated from training and they have not become pod leaders yet. So anyone who is new at Destination or within our Nest program or has been at Destination Transport, typically less than a year, which about that year mark, that's when they become a pod leader. We have all of those people using S2Q, and specifically, that's because S2Q is such a great tool for evaluating sales performance. And in the beginning of your brokerage career here at Destination, sales is such an important thing. Without sales, the company doesn't grow. Without sales, realistically, your career doesn't take off as it should, because this is a sales role. As much as it is booking freight and managing accounts, without the sales aspect of that and attaining the accounts, you don't have those accounts to maintain. So yeah, everyone who is in their early career here at Destination, we have used S2Q on a daily, hourly basis.
How does speed to quote help you make decisions? Is it a specific feature or report? You've talked a lot about the reporting module. Are there any specifics within there, or is it really a whole picture when it comes to everyone in the Nest program?
Well, we use it to make a number of decisions. On an individual review and analysis level, we can look at a broker's speed to quote data to see which customers they're quoting, in what areas of the country they're quoting, what quotes are translating into awarded shipments versus which ones we're not being awarded. And reviewing that data, we're actually able to see, okay, what parts of the country are rates changing? Where are we not being awarded freight? Maybe simply because we may be overpricing, and we're able to look at that data and adjust, and possibly on the next opportunity, bring our rate down to market level and be awarded that opportunity. We're also using speed to quote in our personnel choices and performance evaluations. If someone is thriving extremely well, bursting out of the gates, getting a ton of quotes, being awarded a ton of business, we're able to give them a little more freedom. We know from that they require less management, they require less guidance. When we can look at their statistics and see, oh wow, they're getting a ton of quotes, they're using the tools for follow-up, they're being awarded shipments, it kind of gives us that ability to let them thrive on their own. Inversely, we've used S2Q's information where we've been able to identify employees who are struggling. Maybe there's a lack of quotes, and usually that translates into a lack of effort. They're not putting in the effort it takes to be awarded opportunities because they're not making the phone calls. And simply put, if the quotes aren't logged into the web environment, then they're not happening. And we're looking at that, deciding, well, is this person the right fit for Destination Transport? Because our company does require a lot out of our brokers. We pay very well, I think, versus the industry. Our company offers a great compensation package, but if we're not getting the effort in return, it doesn't work. We expect a lot out of our brokers, but in return, they get a lot out of us.
Have there been any revelations or information out of speed to quote that has surprised you or made you change how you look at your business or your employees?
There have been some curious things that we've noticed. For example, there are customers that send extremely high volume amounts of quotes out, where our broker, an individual salesman, would be, providing those rates. I'm talking hundreds a day, and they're not being awarded anything. There's the opportunities that they're being presented, they're not capitalizing on. The quotes that they're providing aren't winning the opportunity. And there have been situations where we've asked those brokers, hey, you're quoting a ton for this particular prospect, and you're not seeing anything. What are you doing here? Have you made any changes? Are you adapting? I mean, when you do the same thing over and over and over and expect a different result, that usually doesn't work out that way. So yeah, no, we've been able to identify situations where our salesmen are not quoting effectively, right? And the information is showing that there's a high number of opportunities being presented, and it's not translating into business. So we've been able to then intervene, kind of identify what the issues are, usually, which is misunderstanding of the market, overquoting, overpricing, not capitalizing on the opportunity, not getting ordered the shipment, and then not getting ordered the business. The revelation is when you're being presented opportunity and you're not winning those opportunities, well, we have the opportunity then to identify the issue and correct the issue.
So Derek, I think you bring up a fantastic point, and what we hear, from other leaders utilizing our tool and have come across those similar situations, what they tell us is they use this real-time capability of identifying all these quotes that are being sent back to customers and being able to actually use that data for productive conversations with their customer, where they can sit down with their counterpart and say, hey, Mr. Customer, you sent us over 500 quote requests, right, over the last 60 days. We only won 2 lanes. Right, here is the data. Here's what we quoted. Here's what you requested. Hey, how can we win more business with you? Right? They've used the data as a real way to leverage themselves back into that customer and have a meaningful conversation, which then again, rebuilds rapport and relationships with that customer. Is that something that you've experienced as well?
100%. Yeah. Again, I hit on it a little earlier, following up. So when you have this data that shows all these opportunities, these quotes that you're getting, and you're just not being awarded any decent amount of volume of it, well, then you follow up with your customer and you ask for that critical feedback. What is it? Are my rates high? Sometimes we've even been told your rates are too low, and we don't have confidence in your ability to book trucks at these prices, in which we are then able to explain to our customers, it's not that we're too low, it's that you may have fallen into a situation where your current providers are overquoting you, and you may be overpaying on your freight. Also, some situations, there are customers that are just not prone to changing. People like routine, people like relationship. So we're able to use S2Q to dig a little bit deeper and look into the information and kind of figure out, well, if our prices are in line and our availability and responsiveness is good, and we're still not being awarded shipments, sometimes it simply takes time, and you need to build that relationship and be more than just a broker to that particular potential prospect. Again, S2Q is great to dive into the nitty gritty and the details and know, hey, we can adapt this or change this or tweak that. But sometimes it just shows that persistence pays off, and you just need to keep working at it and grind on people and just keep working at it, and eventually, the opportunity will present itself.
No, I think couldn't agree more.
How does speed to quote assist you with planning or forecasting? You talked a lot about the evaluation side, but in the data that you're looking at, when you talk about looking at different regions or different wins, losses, has that helped with strategy moving forward?
Well, it definitely, speed to quote, when we're reviewing data, when we're quoting markets, there are a lot of markets or outbound shipping markets in the U.S. that are very flat. They stay the same. They fluctuate slightly, but not huge swings in pricing throughout the whole year. For instance, shipping out of Chicago, it's always expensive, right? There's no cheap time of the year for that. But then there are situations where there are markets like Colorado where it's always cheap, except for maybe 1 or 2 months out of the year where there is a produce season where it's kind of odd. But we've found out that there's a huge sugar beet production farming in Colorado. So there's a time of the year where we'll notice, okay, we're quoting out of Colorado. We're normally getting these shipments, but right now we're not. Well, it's more than likely because it's part of the seasonality where rates haven't inflated. There's a freight infusion causing rates to climb. California is one that's like that, where it seems like every other month there's a different freight or produce season that pops and rates go up, rates go down. We're able to look at the data in S2Q and notice, okay, we have all these people quoting this rate per mile out of California, and we're being awarded shipments, and all of a sudden we're still quoting that same rate. We're getting awarded the shipments, but now we're losing money on shipments. Carriers are demanding more money for pay. Well, we're able to identify then that, okay, it looks like it's a saturated market. There's a ton of freight. We need to increase pricing. So it's really just keeping your finger on the pulse. And like I said, when all the data, all the quotes that we have are being logged into one location, S2Q's online web environment, it's all right there. So when you want to check out one particular area versus another, it's in one spot and it's very easy to access. So it allows you to keep your finger on the pulse and stay relevant, even if you aren't the one like myself. I don't broker freight anymore. I don't book loads, but I'm able to check markets and check pricing, check supply and demand simply by looking at the data.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Derek. And actually one of the big features that our customers love is our win-loss gateway in our email plugin. So when those quote requests come over for a 53 dry van going from Cleveland to Vegas, our tool's able to overlay all the aggregated quoting history from your team in one location right in their email. So without having to manually go and look things up in a TMS or another shared environment, it's instant access right to their right inside their email environment, which is our customers have really loved, because then they've been able to adjust on the fly just by being able to see success based on their quotes.
Another massive important part of S2Q that I've yet to hit on is we've been able to use it as a uniform tool for replying to customers, especially early on in their career. One of the pros of using destination transport is we like to pride ourselves on quick response time, getting quotes back fast. Well, when S2Q has the plugin right in Outlook, and you're able to run your quote right through the application, enter the numbers, hit reply with an automated template that we've already built out through the web environment, we're able to receive an opportunity, quote it, respond, and it's being tracked all right from the same place, all in an extremely fast manner. It just gives us that competitive edge.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, Derek. We kind of hear two swim lanes of thought, right, from brokers out there. We have some brokers that they want a professional, uniformed template response to go back to customers so it looks professional and put together. You have other customers where they're used to just like a friendly, quick 1 or 2 word answer where it's like, hey, I can do this lane, $2,500, whatever it is. What's nice about our template customization capability is you can set up your templates to be either or, right? They can be set up to be a nice professional formatted quote response, or you can have it set up to be more conversational and still track the data. So that's something that a lot of our customers love.
Yeah, you really do get the best of both worlds. Some customers need, in their quotes, they want it laid out in a very professional manner with origin, city, state, zip, destination, city, state, zip, equipment, special requirements, price, timeframes. All of that can be customized into an automated response template. Also, you then have the option to just reply directly to your customer without a template with, hey, how was your weekend? Hope your son won the ball game. Also, here's your rate that you asked for. We'll talk soon. So it gives you the option to do both, which is super useful because not every relationship with a customer is the same versus the relationship that you have with a different customer. You have to adapt and you emulate kind of what you see. Not to say that you put on a show for your customers, but everyone responds differently to different ways of producing and showing information.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Derek, what has your customer experience been like with the team at S2Q Systems?
Not just saying this, but from the very beginning, even in S2Q, their sales process and onboarding Destination Transport as a client of theirs, we worked with we still work with a representative goes by the name of Alex Naragon, and I cannot give any higher remarks than what I have given with Alex. He's been great from the beginning, very courteous in his sales process, and not bugging us for our business, but being persistent, following up, introducing the product. And then as time went on, because for any salesman to be effective, you can't give up right away. And with us, we weren't a one call, we were sold. He was persistent, and the opportunity paid off, and his professionality, being courteous and persistence, it was top notch. That doesn't show or go for just onboarding us as a new customer. It has been through and through, from the sales process, the onboarding, the customer support, being available any time of the day, the quick response times. It's been great, far exceeding our expectations. And to drill down even further, the CEO and founder of S2Q, Darren, he's made himself available to us at a moment's notice, which is not normal. You don't see that in most businesses where you're able to talk to people at such a high level. They've made themselves available and have taken it upon themselves to really hear us out and help and adapt to whatever situation we may need. So I can't speak higher on what their customer service, their responsiveness, their helpfulness, and their ability to really keep us happy with their service.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Derek. And one of our founding statements is it all revolves around the customer. We are super customer centric in our business. We have a nice hybrid approach between a cradle to grave model, similar to brokerage, and multiple divisions, where we do have a support team that's available, either after hours or if people are tied up. But our first line of support is always your sales rep. We believe that, our sales reps should be out there selling, no doubt about it, but they also know that they have to have a great relationship with the customer, and they have to be there to support any initial things that come over. Because I think you're right, sometimes that is lost in other companies where, they were dealing with a sales rep, and then all of a sudden they get turned over to, some person in support with a ticketing system, and they get to you when they get to you. We didn't want to do that. And as we grow, we want to maintain that level of support where our account managers are there for supporting the customer on the onboarding, but also supporting them immediately if they have any issues. And if they can't handle it, then they can escalate it to our support staff. And from my perspective, I always want to be involved with a customer, no matter what size we get to. I don't care if the customer is a one-man agent working out of his basement or a growing large brokerage like Destination. I will always be available to customers for anything that they need.
Yeah, no, very similar to Destination, where we employ the cradle to grave operation. I see that in S2Q, where our sales rep Alex, was available throughout the sales process, the implementation process. He's still available and working with us on a day-to-day basis, even now with S2Q for almost a year. He's even gone as far as building a Teams group chat with all of our reps on S2Q. And, if we put a question in there, he's responding within minutes. It's incredible. So yeah, no, it's great. And we could be happier with the support that we receive from S2Q.
Appreciate that.
Is there anything else we should know about Destination Transport or about working with S2Q Systems?
I look at our company, Destination, and I look at S2Q, and I look at how we treat our clients, how they treat their clients. I think that we have very similar values. I think we put responsiveness, quick response times, accuracy, execution, customer service. Those are the pillars and the foundation of what we've built Destination Transport on. And I see that reflected in how Ben has built his business in S2Q and in the culture and the interaction I have with Alex, our sales support representative at S2Q. I see a lot of what I see in Destination, I see over there, and it's really cool to see companies that are still operating ethically. It's not all about the dollars. It's about seeing the effect that their product is having on their customers' business and the results that they're getting from it. Making money is one thing, but making money and providing true value, that's another thing. So if you're looking to work with someone who truly cares about providing a great service, being available, listening to criticism and taking feedback, S2Q is exactly that.
That's great.
Thank you. That's wonderful to hear.